Hello, my name is Hal Bailey. I am the manager of long range planning in Lexington's Division of Planning. Today, I will be talking a bit about the history of Lexington's Urban Service Area, or USA, and how it has and will continue to be an important tool in how we as a community grow responsibly. The urban service area is an important component of the city's adopted comprehensive plan. Over the course of the last 70 years, the Urban County Council and the Planning Commission have made decisions regarding the maintenance, expansion, or contraction of the urban service area, or USA. Comprehensive plans and master plans for how the land would be developed were adopted by the Planning Commission, and we as a community have helped shape those plans to create the city as it is today. So what exactly is an urban service area? It is a growth management tool that governs where urban land uses like residential, commercial, and industrial are allowed, and where urban services are to be provided. These urban services include things like sanitary sewers, stormwater sewers, street lights, sidewalks, and trash pickup. But why does Lexington have an urban service area? What are the benefits to our community through the use of growth management tools like an urban service area? Initially, Lexington established the USA to ensure that we were not a sprawling city. In the period following World War II, and with the advent of an affordable car, communities started to stretch their boundaries. While the flexibility generated by suburban growth allowed for the communities to develop, it was being done haphazardly, leapfrogging properties, which resulted in significant strain on our city's resources. Communities like Lexington were struggling to find ways to ensure infrastructure, specifically sanitary sewers, which are very expensive, were being provided efficiently and cost effectively. So by establishing a specified area for development, Lexington was able to strategically grow our city and our infrastructure, utilizing the land we have more efficiently. As time has gone on, Lexington also noticed other benefits to the establishment of the urban service area. It preserves our iconic farmland, which is an important economic and environmental factor. It also separates incompatible land uses, ensuring that infrastructure can handle certain types of land uses, some that are more intense than others. Specifically, separating some of our more intense urbanized land uses, like industrial, and some of our residential from agricultural land uses, and sometimes separating those intense agricultural land uses from our residential land uses within the urban service area. Pig farms don't typically make great neighbors to residential land uses. The establishment of the urban service area has meant that we have met the challenge of becoming a more efficient community in how we utilize our land. Lexington is a community of greater than 320,000 people. Currently, our rural service area is a total of 195 square miles, or 68% of Fayette County's area. It also contains just 7% of our population. The other 32% of our community's land is located inside of our urban service area and is where approximately 93% of our population is located. That split signifies that we are very thoughtful about our community and we are utilizing our urban services efficiently. The efficiency of land use for our community is representative of Lexington's commitment to good planning practice and development. We, as a community, established our first planning commission in 1928 and adopted our first comprehensive plan guiding how the city would grow in 1931. While at the time we were not an urban county, we saw the advantages of planning for both Lexington and Fayette County so that we were moving together in the right direction. In 1952, Fayette County Fiscal Court gave the Planning Commission authority to zone for the entire county. And then in 1958, we established the nation's first urban service area. While we established the urban service area in 1958, that didn't mean that we as a community thought it would stay the same forever. We knew that our population would grow, our needs would change, and we would need to modify our urban service area over time. Since its establishment, the urban service area has changed a total of 9 times. Here is a depiction of the original urban service area. It was a total of 67 square miles, and the city was comprised of a population of approximately 125,000 people. The first urban expansion of our urban service area was in 1962. It was a small expansion of approximately 1,510 acres that added land to the southeastern portion of Lexington. In 1964, we expanded by approximately 23 square miles or 15,000 acres. This expansion was very large and expanded the total to approximately 92.5 square miles. This number of 92.5 square miles is important to keep in your mind because we'll come back to that later in the presentation. In 1967, there was a reduction of the 1964 expansion. This was largely due to some of the concerns by some of our community members that we went too far with our previous expansion. There was an outcry from the community that we needed greater collaboration with the members of Lexington, and this reduced the urban service area down to approximately 73 square miles. As you can see, this map is a little bit different from the previous maps. That's largely because this was our comprehensive plan updating the approximate size of our urban service area because of new technology. We reviewed the previous expansions, where the land was, and then in our 1973 comprehensive plan made a very clear delineation about where the expansions were, what properties were within the urban service boundary, and created more specific lines associated with drainage areas and ridge lines. In 1980, we experienced a few small expansions as well as a few reductions in our urban service area. And this was really a focus on protecting some of the horse farm industry within Lexington. In 1996, we experienced a large expansion of the urban service area, adding approximately 5,400 acres to the previously adopted urban service area. This was reviewed by the Planning Commission and added through collaboration with the council and the mayor's office at that time. This was our last major expansion to our urban service area before 2023. Between 1996 and 2023, we experienced several small expansions, bringing in little portions of land around the periphery of the urban service area. In 1998, we added the area along Bracktown of Lexington. In 2001, we added two small areas, one along Spur Road and then another along Athens-Boonesboro Road. In 2018, there was no expansion or modification of the urban service area, but during the comprehensive planning process, there were several calls for us to reevaluate and improve our process to ensure that expansion or contraction decisions were sustainable long term. In 2020, the Sustainable Growth Task Force was established. This group specifically recognized the need for greater information regarding the availability of land within Lexington. The initial report provided a baseline of information regarding development in the community and vacancy of land through 2020. The report was updated by a consultant reporting through 2022. Due in large part to the additional staff added to the Division of Planning, Long Range Planning has taken the responsibility for the production and reporting of the data originally established by the Sustainable Growth Task Force. This information will be reported through the Imagine Lexington Data Research Center, which will serve as a transparent data source of ongoing development trends, land vacancy, demographic changes, and environmental impacts in Lexington. The Division of Planning anticipates having the Data Research Center available, including data through 2024. Following the work completed by the Sustainable Growth Task Force, then Vice Mayor Steve Kay established the Goal 4 Work Group. This work group proposed a map that identified areas of preservation and areas for future urban growth. It built upon the baseline data that was developed under the Sustainable Growth Task Force and developed multiple growth scenarios that would lead to discussions regarding whether to expand, contract, or maintain the urban service area. Once the determination was made to expand, a call for plans would be put forth, followed by an evaluation and public review process. This review process would lead to the potential incorporation of specified locations into the urban service area. While both the Sustainable Growth Task Force and the Goal 4 Work Group provided important information that could guide the process of urban growth management, neither were adopted as a formalized process for review. Because the process was not completed and due to the growing concerns regarding the cost of housing and the availability of housing, we as a community relied on historical ways by which we expand. The urban county government determined that there was a need for between 2,700 and 5,000 acres of land to be added to the urban service area to allow for new housing opportunities within our community. This determination by the Urban County Council resulted in the completion of the Urban Growth Master Plan, which added approximately 2,840 acres of land to the USA. It was completed in October of last year and represents significant input from all over Lexington. It is primarily focused on providing housing options in 4 different areas and called for a review of the Blue Sky Activity Center, an industrial area that provides for job production within our community. This brings our urban service area to just under 90 square miles. This is approximately 2.5 square miles less than what we expanded to in 1964. So you might ask yourself, well, we just expanded. Why do we even need to talk about this anymore? Don't we have enough land to last us years before we need to have this conversation again? Well, the challenges still remain. If we wait another 10, 15, or 20 years, we are going to be rushed and we might not have a proven system by which we can discuss our options so that we can make better and more informed choices. Waiting is particularly a problem for those with planner or long-range planner in our titles, because if we don't get ahead of things now, we might be dealing with those same challenges that we have dealt with from previous attempts in modifying our urban service area. These challenges are largely due to the complexity of projecting development land use needs for further than our ability to adequately forecast, especially with large areas of land. Once we are 10 to 15 years beyond the planning for areas of expansion, the pace of development and the land use projection often do not stay on track long term. This is illustrated by the slow rate of development of some of the areas brought into the urban service area from the 1996 expansion. Also, speculative growth locations Changes in land use policy and the impact of market changes can really impact what plans have been developed. A good example of this is the statement in 1973 that stated that the urban service area should be 116.4 square miles by the year 2000. With most recent expansion, we are just under 90 square miles. This is not to state that we should be at 116.4 square miles, but that we as a community have changed the way that we develop to be more efficient with the land that we have. Our policies and priorities have also changed since 1973, with a focus on infill and redevelopment in a greater way. So how do we get to the point that we have a better way of growing our community? Theme E, Goal 4 of the Comprehensive Plan, provided a specific task to complete through collaboration with the Urban County Council. In the coming months, staff will be working with the chair of the General Government and Planning Committee and the Vice Mayor to refine the scope of this project, establish a framework for further public input, schedule committee reports and updates, and collaborate with our Planning Commission to build upon the previous work and establish an effective approach to urban growth and preservation within Lexington. Thank you very much for reviewing this presentation. Feel free to reach out to the Division of Planning staff with any questions that you might have over the coming weeks. And please stay engaged on our current website for this project, Engage Lexington. Thank you.